Hello all, welcome to vStudent blog in the series of VMware vSphere 8 fast track sessions. This is a session 4 and we have covered most of the topics in our previous sessions. And in this session we will be looking at below topics like mentioned here, like how to clone a VM, how to create a template, then creating a customization, then deploying a VM using a template, then deploying a virtual machine using customization. So how to create content libraries, then uploading ISO to a content library, then how to add a raw disk mapping to a virtual machine, then renewing vCenter certificates, how can we do that, and also creating a VM using OVF. So that we'll look at it. So mostly I will be telling how to do that because I didn't download a OVF. So I will show you what is VMware market and how to download the OVF, and from where we can upload the OVF to create a VM. And last but not the least, host profiles. So why we use host profiles and how to do that, we all will be discussing all in this video, and hoping uh, like this will cover most of the topics we anything we missed in our previous session. So let's start with the cloning a VM. So to see the VMs, like you need to go to VMs and the templates. There will be a VM listed here. So cloning VM virtual machine is like for example, why we do a cloning. So when you do a clone, what happens is the the virtual machine uh, will be cloned. Like it will be same, like all settings, data, everything will be including SID and all stuff, like VM SID, everything will be same, and it will it will be creating it another copy. Like example, there is a production box, and you want to do some testing in a dev environment. Same clone you need, then in that case we'll be using it. But thing is, when you clone it, SID will be same, and when you try to power or add it to the active directory, it will create a mess. Like it will have the SID for the server. Like every person has the unique name, like that. Every VM will have an SID, so that will create a like unique ID. Okay, that will create a problem. Like already there is a ID, right? So to avoid that, most of the time we'll be using uh, instead of cloning, we'll be deploying through template, or uh, what we can do is instead of a clone, what people do is they will clone to a template, and from template when you deploy it, it will run the sysprip, and that will take care of generating a new SID, unique ID for the VM, and you can add it to the domain. So that's how it works. So like let's do how to clone. So to clone the machine, you need to right click on the virtual machine, and you need to go to the clone. Here you have three options. So clone to virtual machine, clone to template, and clone as template to library. So when we create a content library, we will look at the third option. For now, like we'll look at the first option. So here you just click the clone to VM. You'll give the name for that. That is, I'm going to give something like VM 2023, and you need to select the whatever, like you want to go do it for a QA or testing, then you go there. Then if you already have DRS enabled, then you can select the cluster, and it will take care of like deploying the VM to the ESXi box, which is having space, which is having resources available. So this is for data store, like storage, where you can select the data store cluster, and select in provision, so that whatever the space you have you have used, that will be used on the class on the data store. And like if by mistake, whenever you are creating the VM, you selected like lazy zeroed or eager zeroed, that means it will occupy the, or like if you're assigning 100 GB to the particular VM, that will a complete 100 GB will be assigned. So I'm talking about the lazy uh, zeroed. So at that time, that will be completely reserving that 100 GB. So if you want to convert it to a thin provision at that time, so when you are migrating a virtual machine, from migrating means when you're doing a storage vMotion, if we select thin provision, what happens is it will convert it as thin provision. And thin provision is like whatever the space you use, that will be consumed, and the rest of the space will be available to the other virtual machines, or like that will be available on the data store. Most of the time I select in provision, so and just click next. So yeah, if it is in same network, so don't power on the VM. So these three generally, what is this customization, we'll discuss on this. And customize the VM is nothing but if you want to increase the memory, CPU, everything, you will just select this one. And if you select this one after you provision the VM, like clone is completed, it will power on its own. So yeah, and just click next. And here next step, it will show like how many CPU you want, how much memory, hard disk, everything. Anything you need to modify, just modify it and click next. And just go through the like summary and click finish. So it will take some time, so I will just pause the video. If it is quicker, then it's fine. Let's see. So now it is cloning the VM. So we'll see next is what, so creating Plum template. So we'll do that. So let it clone. Okay, it's almost getting created. And let's see here. So when it is getting cloned, or when the VM is deployed, you won't see the guest OS details, or ESXi details, like where it is getting deployed. You won't see these details until this is completely provisioned. So till when it is 100%, when it is completed, then only you will get the details. And when you power it on, then only you will get the DNS name, IP, all stuff. So we'll just pause the video, don't want to waste time. So it's still in progress. Meanwhile, we'll discuss something else. So we are cloning this VM, right? So when you go to try to power it on, like you won't see the power on option, like you won't see the options available here. Even if like VM settings or migrate option, like all options, most of the options are degraded, because you don't want to disturb the clone till it is completed. You won't see the options available. So you need to wait till the clone is completed. So in production, if you are doing such type of activity, so make sure you do it in off business hours. If you do it in production, it will impact the production also. So be careful when you do this. So the source VM is something like logged for till it is getting cloned. So yeah, when you are doing it in production, you need to take the downtime from the application owner, and then you have to do it. So VM provision is cloning is completed. You can see the VM. Now we can see that guest OS details, and even VM tools details. And if you see here, like disk details, network, which network it is connected, and you can see that on which host it was deployed, and network, everything. Before, these are all not before, you are unable to see these all. So this is about clone. I'm not going to power it on, but this is how you do the cloning. And creating next, creating template. Okay, so I will use the same machine. So let me tell you, like so why we do template, why you create template is like as I said, for example, if you want to build a VM, you need to mount the ISO, then you need to install from scratch. Like you need to deploy the VM first, then you need to mount the ISO, then you have to give the memory, CPU, then assign the NIC, everything. And then you have to install the OS, install VM tools. And then for example, you need to add any softwares on that, like antivirus or some monitoring tools, everything. So it will take minimum 30 minutes to complete each and every step, like hardening the server, like disabling the firewall on the server, then lot of stuff you need to do. So and every time if you are building like 15 to 20 VMs per day, so it will take a lot of time. To avoid that, if you create a template, what happens is before you create a template, you will create a virtual machine with everything installed, firewall disabled, or hardening the server. Hardening is like applying some default policies of company. You will be doing that. Everything you complete it, then you install VMware tools, drivers, everything, antivirus. Then once it is done, you will turn it off, like you will power off the VM. And then what you'll do is simply, for example, I done everything on this, and once this is done, what I will do is just right click on it, go to templates, and you will click convert to template. Okay, once you click convert to template, what happens is it will be converted to template, and it's no more VM, it's a template. And you won't see any details here, but though you can see the data store details where it is residing. But apart from that, this is a template. You don't have power on options, everything. You have only to convert it back to virtual machine, or create a new template from this, or clone to a template. You can create another template from this, or even you can right click and like uh, just like clone to library, all stuff. Okay, we can delete from disk, or we already see that what is this. So we don't have power on option. So this is how we'll create template. And if template is created, you'll be able to see the templates. If you go to hosts and clusters, you won't see the template listed here. See, this is the cloned VM, but there is no template listed. To see the templates, you need to go to VMs and templates, which is this one. For example, I can show you from here. Okay, from the shortcuts is this one. So VMs, and if you click on this, then only you'll be able to see the template. This is the template. And if you see the icon also, so if you see the VM, you have three boxes. If it is a template, you see like some page, in that you see the three boxes. So that's how you need to identify. And this is a template. And to deploy the, like let's go to this one second. Okay, so we are done with creating template, creating VM customization. Okay, before that, let me delete this because I don't have space. This is the cloned one, which I don't want to keep. So it's remove from inventory is nothing but just you are removing from vCenter. If you delete from disk means it will be completely deleted from your completely VM will be deleted. Okay, so it is gone pretty quick. So now to just show you guys how to deploy a VM from a template, you need to right click on the template and new VM from this template. So here you'll give VM name something like VM 2020. I'm just giving some name. Okay, so here if it is going to be production or development or QA, you'll be selecting the particular folder name is development, and you'll click on next. And if it is like DRS is enabled, obviously it will provision the VM on any of the ESXi box which is having more resources. Select the cluster theme provision and click next. So here customization will check next. Customize the VM, power on the VM. When you click on when you select this one, VM will be powered on. So here we will be same thing which we saw it before. So only difference is like if you clone the VM, it will give use the same SID and unique ID of the server. But using the template, using the sysprep, Windows sysprep, whenever it is getting started, it will run the sysprep in the backend, and it will provision that. So we will see that when we go for customization next step. So VM options, you can see these all known things like guest OS, guest OS version. Sometimes if you upgrade any server, like for example, you have 2019 box and you have upgraded from OS side to 2022. So when you build the server, what the OS version will be 2019, so you need to change it here. So now you won't get it, but when VM is deployed, you can go to the settings and VM options and you can change it. So these are all like much not that much important. So this is security boot enabled. So there is a KB new February 2023 Microsoft KB released like last Tuesday. So that is causing problem for the virtual machines running below VMware 8. So if a secure boot is enabled, VM doesn't boot after the installation of patching. In that case, just uncheck this. For now, we don't have any solution, so we'll uncheck this one and simply click next. And if you are having ESXi like VMware vSphere 8, this one, that KB won't affect this 2022, but if you're having 6.7 or 7, then that is affecting 2022 servers. This is just FI, but don't think too much on that. So just click finish, then the VM will be provisioned. uh, Pretty simple. It will be provisioned using the template. So now we are provisioning the VM using the template, and you can provision another VM. Though it is in progress, you can simply create another VM, and you can build like that. How many VMs you want, you can simply go and deploy the VMs. So there is no limitation. You can go ahead, click new VM and do that. When though it is in progress, you can do it, but if you do more, then it will be pretty slow. So do like make sure that you won't deploy more, not more VMs. So like give some space so that uh, the provision will be faster. So it is in progress. Meanwhile, we'll see what is the next. Creating VM customization. Okay, we'll look at this. So customization is like let's go here and see. Then it will. So VM customization specifications is what we are discussing. So this is very much helpful. So building a VM from scratch, like template will help you to make more easier. Like it, for example, if you are building a VM, it will take 30 minutes, but if you deploy a template and using template, if you are deploying a VM, for example, it will take 5 minutes or 10 minutes. If you use customization, it will get it down to 2 to 3 minutes or lesser, even lesser also. So what is this customization is like, we'll see here. Let's go here. When you click on this, customization is, let's go. So I will explain you when configuring this. So we'll give name for this customization, OS for 2022. Okay, we'll give. So vCenter is this one. So what OS? That is Windows OS. So here use custom sysprep answer file. So default VMware will use a sysprep for the servers. If you have an answer file, you can select this one. But we are going like using the default one. So just I will leave it. If you have answer file, you can select this one, and you will need to upload the file. So registration, just click next. Owner name, you can give something, whatever you want. Your company name. Okay, then computer name. So computer name will be whatever you give when you deploy the VM using the template. If you select this one, then obviously it will take that name. Okay, if you, so you can see that maximum is 15 characters. Okay, obviously DNS will take 15 characters. If you give more than that, it isn't like it will be a problem when you try to ping an RDP. So make sure that server name should be below 15 characters. So enter a name in the clone deploy, just ignore it. Enter a name, that is also just ignore it. But whatever VM name we'll give, that we'll be taking. Okay, license. Okay, if you have a product key, you select you just put it here, or else just per server, select the per server. Then here you need to give the virtual machine OS password. Okay, So I will give the password. So if doesn't match, then it will show error. So it's, so you click this one. If you select this one, what happens is when deployment is completed, when VM is deployed, so it will first time after reboot it will directly log in with the local administrator, which we don't want. So uh, based on your requirement you can enable it how many times you want to log in. So if you install some application, then it will reboot second time also. If you want to log in without putting the password, you can select this one. So here we don't take it, we leave it. And time zone, like in which time zone now you are using it, you just select that one. If it is US, then you have three time zones. If it is some other country, you select the time require, whatever time zone is uh, you are in, you just select that one, just click next. Then here, so this is very useful when you want to deploy some tools automatically. For example, you want to run a batch file after deploying of your VM first time. So for example, you want to install some tools using a batch file. You need to give the path of the batch file here. Like for example, just for sample I'm saying some test.bat. If you give this one and you paste that, you keep the like a batch file in the C drive when you build a VM. So what happens is whenever you first time log into the server, this batch file will be executed. Okay, so from the C drive of the particular for a particular virtual machine. So this is very much useful when you have 3 to 4 applications need to be installed. You put the installer path, everything installer on the C drive, and you create a batch file and put it here. Even PowerShell scripts also you can use. You put the path and just click next. Whenever the first time VM is provisioned and when you log into the VM, it will run that particular batch file or PowerShell script, and it will install the required tools. So you can add multiple commands here. And then we'll go to the next, that is networking. So here if you are using DHCP, you can leave it by default, and generally in production we won't do that. So we need to so you just go to the you need to add a nick, or by default this is the nick which is using DHCP. And which is like if you want to manually add the IPs, so what you can do is you need to select the second one. So whenever you are provisioning a VM, it will ask for providing the IP. Okay, so you need to give the you not no need to give the IP here, but you can give the subnet, gateway, and DNS here. Let me show you just for example 255.255.255.0, and the gateway is something like 192.168.86.1, whatever the gateway you have. And DNS you have to give here something 192.168.86.5, whatever it is. So I'm just showing it for as an example. You can put multiple DNS here, and when you click OK, it will be saved. So I don't require it. I will just put DHCP for now, as ours is a test lab. As ours is a lab, so you just select this one, enabling DHCP. Okay, so then click next. Here this is important. So by default our VM, so just a reminder, whenever you create a template, make sure that it's not part of domain. Not part of domain means you should not join that particular VM to the domain. It should be in work group. I'm telling you again, the server should not be in domain, should not be joined to domain. It should be in work group. And also you should not assign any IP to that, because whenever it turn on, whenever it's provision the VM, obviously the static IP will be there. And if you already assign that IP to some other server, then you will get an duplicate IP over the network. So two things you need to keep in mind. One is not to assign static IP when you create the template, when you convert a VM into template. So, and I should not join that template server in the domain. But here in the customization, we will give the domain name. What is the domain we are using? So ours is vsb.com, and you should give the username. I will give the username and password. So you should give the username password of of the of the like domain admin, like any user which is having domain admin credentials. If you add a user a service account which don't have a domain admin, then it won't allow you to add the server to the domain. So which should have an capability of adding the server to the domain. That's what I'm saying. So for this is a test lab, so I'm giving the administrator, but in production you need to create a service account with the domain admin credentials. So password, repeat it. Okay, everything looks good. Click, and this is what the summary. You just check the summary, and if you feel everything is okay, then click finish. So now our customization is ready. So let's check. Let's provision one VM using template, and you use the customization. So this is the template which you already created. Let's delete the this one, which because we don't require it. I was just deployed for as a sample from template. So using this template, so here we are just simply getting down our work, getting down our time also. Simply creating a VM using the ISO, using the OS ISO. It will take 30 to 40 minutes. We just get it down by 15 minutes. Now we'll get it down by 2 to 3 minutes. So just right click on this, you provision new VM from the template, give the VM name, whatever you give here, that will be used on by the customization. Okay, and we want to put it on production just for testing. We'll select the cluster, and we'll select the data store cluster, then provision. From till here we are doing all. Here if you want to use the customization which we used, you just select this one, and I want to go with the default VM settings, so I don't want to wait for it, and I will select the VM power on once the VM is provisioned. So when you click next, what it will do is it will check for this first one. So you'll select the customization which we just created, and for example, let me show you. It will go to the third one, that is summary of the VM. If you select this one, the second also, then what happens is it will ask for customization. Then it will go to the VM settings, like you want to increase the memory, CPU, hard disk, everything. Like you want to change the VLAN, you can go for any other VLAN like QA or dev, but we are provisioning a production, and make sure this is checked. Okay, that's fine. If it is not checked, means whenever power on and VM NIC is not enabled, then customization doesn't work. So make sure you are selecting the right what do you call, right network. Okay, now we are good. So this is the summary, and we'll click finish. So let's see. So this is the VM. We'll also open the VM console. So it is getting deployed now. You can see it here. So here let me discuss. Look, we have two things. One is VM web console and launch remote console. So launch remote console is like a agent installs on your when you click on it, what happens is it will try to download if you don't have it's not installed, then it will try to download it. If it's already installed, then it will open a console. Like, let me show you. This is the what. Okay, so it didn't work. One second. So it will open the VM console, and if it is a web console, what happens is if you click this, it will opening it here. So let me check. Thrown some error. Okay, still VM is not powered on, so it is not allowing me. Let's wait till VM gets deployed. Let me pause the video. Once the deployment is completed, we'll check what's going on. Okay, now VM is powering up. So let's open the console. So when you click on remote launch remote console, it will open the console like this. For this, you need to install the VMware remote console agent. Once you install it, you will be able to see this. Difference is now when you build the VM, you can also mount the ISO on from your laptop. So sometimes if web browser is not responding, you can use that. So now see, if customization is in progress, so it will ask you to change the password, but don't do anything, just wait for some time. It will reboot it now. It will reboot the server, it will do the customization, then it will add the server to the domain. And if you have any scripts added to the customization, it will run that also. We need to wait and see. It will take some time. So for now, see, if you see here, it's assigning the like temporary IP from DHCP. And let's wait. Sometimes it will take, if you have a good resources, then it will be pretty fast. So let me pause the video, and when it's getting rebooted, I will just resume the video. So now it is getting rebooted. So it's taking some time, as it is first time. So we need to wait. So if you see, creating a VM using the ISO, and once you build it, then installing tools, then adding it to domain, assigning the IP, adding it to the domain, all it's really painful. So using these customizations, it will get down the administrator's um, work by almost 75%. So still in progress. Customization is all it's happening in background. Yeah, this is a test environment, and I have very less resources. That is the reason it's taking more time. But in production, when we deploy any VM, it won't take more than 3 minutes. Super fast it will be, I bet. But this is a lab one, which if you see, resources are running on low, so that is the reason it's taking more time. But if it is production, it will be faster, that's for sure. So the customization is completed now. So now we can see our domain name here. So I didn't do anything, it's added to domain using the customization. Let's try to log in. So now it's added to domain, and we logged in as a member server for domain. So if you want to check, if you go to local server, so you can see the work group, like domain name is vsb.com, company name is VM01, which we initially given when we creating the VM. So whatever the iterate settings we given, that will be assigned to the NIC. So this is using a customization, deploying a VM using a template and customization. So step 5 is done. Now let's look at the step 6, creating content library. So let's take it down because we don't have resources. So content library, like why we use content library is like if you have multiple vCenters, so every vCenter require a for example, require a few templates, default templates like Windows templates, Linux templates, which used to provision VMs, and use even OVFs and even ISOs. So for each vCenter, if you put like all in a different for individual templates and ISOs, it will be consuming space, and to avoid that, using the library content library, we can configure this to access from multiple vCenters. So for this we need a dedicated LUN assign. So to create the content library, we need to click on create. You need to give the name, library name. So I given content lib. So here I'm able to see I have only one vCenter, so that is the single C vCenter. But if you have multiple vCenters, you can see it there. So from where you need to, like, you want to configure using the local content library or using the subscription URL, you need to configure it here. So content download in when needed or immediately. So we need to select the option. So I will select publish. Authentication is not required. So click next. We don't have any policies going to apply. We'll leave it like that only. And here we need to select the data store which you want to configure, which you have ISOs templates which you want to upload to the data store. So just click next. This is the summary and finish. So once you create it, you will be able to see the content library name, for which we can see that if you have a templates, it will be like listed in VM templates, and if you have OVFs, these will be listed here, and if you have any ISOs or any other format of files, they'll be listed here. So if you want to import anything, you can do it from actions. Click action, click import item, and you need to select if it is a URL. If you give the URL like a VMware, for example, this is the URL OVF market, VMware market, where if you want some any like any OVF, you can just select the OVF, and you give the path of that particular URL, like particular OVF, then it will download it from there itself. You need to give the credentials, then it will download from there. This is for OVFs, and if it is something, for example, ISO files from your local store, local drive or local server, you can just select the local file. Let me check if I have anything. Okay, I just upload a Ubuntu ISO. If it is a valid like a binary or valid ISO, then it will be you will give a tick mark, green color. You can see the name and click import. So it started importing now, and once it is completed, you'll be able to see it in the others. Okay, so even if you have any virtual machine template, let's go there and see if we can do it. So we have a template here. Let's see if we can do it. Clone to library. So here we are discussing about all these, and this is the one which you are working on now. So you need to click on let me show one more time. Just click on VM template and select clone to library, and here you need to select the content library name and give the template name and click OK. So what happens is it will be pushing that template to the content library. You can see here what's going on here. So it's just simply exporting OVF template, and it's in progress. Let's go to content library and see what's going on. So Ubuntu ISO is almost uploaded. It's on 95%. So for this VM template, maybe it will take some time, but this will be done pretty quickly. So it's almost done. You can see that Ubuntu ISO available here, as well as if you see here, VM 2022 template is also available. So using this, we can share the same ISOs and templates between multiple vCenters, and we can deploy a new VM from this template. You can see here, if you have this one, if you configure with multiple vCenters, you will get the same template available, and when you right click and deploy a new virtual machine, you will get whatever we done it before. Like for deploying a VM using template, you'll get that options. So if you want to see, you can see, like you need to give the VM name and everything, and pretty simple. And even you can see, like you can use the customization also. You have it on the bottom, customize operating system. When you select this one, on the next option, next step, it will ask for okay. Okay, still it's progress. That is the reason we are getting error. But yeah, once this is done, it will be fully available for provisioning the VM. So now we created content library, and we also saw like uploading ISO to library. Next is adding a RDM to virtual machine, which we'll see now. So let's go to our virtual machines. I just turned off one VM. Let's try with that one. Okay, so let me power it on. Let's open web console. So let's wait till it's powered on. So actually we need to keep it off, and we need to add the RDM. Let's see. So if it's allowing us to add the RDM when it is in power on state, I believe it won't allow, but let's see if something has changed recently. So luck, next is three topics left. So VM is on now. So let's see if it works. So to add the raw disk, so what you do is like sometimes for clusters or servers, we may need to add the disk directly from the LUN. So in that case, we will do this one. Like go to VM settings, add a new device, select raw disk RDM, and if you see here, like we need to select the right disk. If you know the LUN number, then using the LUN number we can add it. So I'm going to select this 10 GB disk as a new disk, a raw disk, and you can see here, you need to expand it. You have to do it from storage side. So you cannot have you don't have an option, though we have another disk which we can expand, but this we cannot expand it. Click OK, then go to server manager, like disk manager on the server, and you'll be able to see that 10 GB disk. Like make it online, initialize the disk, GPT, and then simple volume. Click next. Is in the drive later or whatever format you want to do, you can go for it. I prefer to go for 64K NTFS. Finish. So now we have the disk. If you see the properties, like you can see that MSFT virtual disk. So if you see here, this is the, like you can see this as a MSFT virtual disk, whereas if you see this disk, the drivers will be different. VMware. Okay, so this is a VMware disk, and this is a RDM from like I dip. This is a LUN directly dip using the LUN from storage VSN. That is the reason we are seeing a different LUN ID, a different driver. So this is done like renewing a new certificates. Okay, that pretty simple. So you need to go to administration on the vCenter here. Then you need to go to certificate management. So this will like for example, you can see here this certificate is valid till Jan 16 2025. For example, today is Jan 15 2025, and you need to renew it, or else people won't be able to log in tomorrow, day after tomorrow. So we need to renew it. So for that, pretty simple, go to the actions and click on renew. So I'm not going to do it now. If you do it, it will take, what happens is when you renew it, it will restart all the services and vCenter services too, and it will take 15 to 20 minutes. In that time, vCenter won't be available. Once the certificate renewed, you'll be able to see the new date, the new certificate key, all stuff here. Same thing for VCA root certificate. This is valid for 10 years. So that's okay. So this is valid for 2 years. So maybe after 2 years, I need to do this step, like simply go and renew it. So once you've done it, it will restart some services, and once it is done, you will be able to see a new certificate. And creating VM using OVF. This is we already discussed, but so you need to download it from market. Any OVF you want to you want to deploy the VM using OVF. You need to first download the OVF files. Then you need to go to in like you to go to the cluster and right click, and you see that option here, deploy OVF template. So you can directly view the URL here, like appliance URL from any vendor. And when you click next, it will ask few more questions, like, and then it will start downloading directly. And if you have already OVF files, just you need to select the local file, select upload, select the OVF all files, and when you click next, it will show you the same questions as a new VM, like cluster, environment, then network, everything you need to configure. And once you click finish, it will upload the files, and then a new VM using the OVF will be deployed. So I'm checking if okay, so that's how it is. And last is host profiles. So host profiles, here you can see here. So host profiles are used like if you are adding a ESXi box, like if you already have 10 boxes, and you are going to add another 10 boxes to the to your environment. If you create a host profile using an existing ESXi box, like you can the policies applied, or which NIC is assigned to which like for management network, VM NIC is one is assigned, vMotion NIC two is assigned, like that. So that it is like applying the policies and settings as existing one. We'll be using the host profile. So simply you need to first create a host profile by selecting any existing server. So you need to select one server first. So for that, if you have a file like host file which is imported, then you need to select this one and choose the file. If you already have you don't have it, you need to extract the host profile using the existing ESXi box, then give some name, host profile 01 or something. You can give the description if you have multiple vendors, like you have a Cisco, if you have an HP, you can create a different host profiles using the each of the box, and then if you click finish, a host profile will be extracted from the existing ESXi box, and it will be available to deploy it on the new servers, new ESXi boxes added to the environment. So it's in progress, it will take some time, but once it is done, you will be able to see a profile added here, listed here. So it's done now. You can see that like host profile details. So you can duplicate it. You can see here like it's compliant and it don't have any issues. So configuration details, everything it will be listing here. You can see any changes you want to do, you can do it here. So everything it's extracting from the ESXi01 which we selected. So if you want to deploy it using this, we can deploy it to the new server, and you can see here. So check host profile compliance. So these all are like when you have a new host, then we can deploy it. So we attach a host and cluster, and it will deploy all and make it available. Instead of doing it manually, it will make it available, applying all the policies and settings to the new server. So that is host profile, and I believe we all covered all topics. And that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.